Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new here. My name is Muphidaht and I'd like it if you click down below to subscribe to my channel. In today's video, we are getting into the 5th episode of the basic girlies tutorials. So in today's video, it's gonna be a long one. I apologize in advance, but I wanted to do this in parts, but I know some of you would like to look at this video later on to do your makeup with me. So I'm gonna really take my time here. We're gonna do from start to finish, like a basic OG YouTube video. This is gonna be how to do a full glam for my basic girly. So if you have to go out for a date, for a wedding, you want to look put together, you want to go all full glam and gorgeous and stuff like that, this is gonna be the video for you. So we're gonna take it easy. We're gonna start off with the brows, then we're gonna do the eye makeup, then we're gonna do the base, and then we're gonna do the lips. I'm gonna show you guys how to do everything in detail. So if you want to see how this video goes down, carry on watching and let's get right into it. I brought you guys up close so we can do the eye makeup together. You guys know the drill. If you have any eyebrow products, like an eyebrow gel, I suggest you reach out for it and do this step. I personally like my Got2b gel. This is the edge control that I use and I really like it for my brow area. So I'm gonna start off putting this product through my brow hairs. My brows look like this because I had them microbladed probably 3 years ago and it's beginning to fade out. So that's why my brows look like this. Using a brow gel in your eyebrows before you fill them in just gives you a gauge as to how to shape your eyebrows or go about your natural eyebrow shape. It just gets the hair out of the way for you to be able to clean up your brow well and fill in your brows. As you can see, it's making everything look so good. Just wanna go in and clean up tops of the brow hairs, lie flat. So what I like to do next is to clean up the bottom of my brows. So I'm going in with my MAC Studio Fix Concealer and Correct palette. This is in the shade dark. I like to use the shade NC45, which is this light one here, to clean the bottom part of my brows. So if you have concealer that is 2 or 3 shades lighter than you can use that to clean the bottom part of the brows. You do that because it just gives the brow a nice lift. And also when you kind of clean up your brows, my girls who clean up their brows, you realize that under the arch here is lighter. You see this side naturally is lighter than the rest of my eyelid space. So that's what we're trying to mimic with the makeup. So you want to go in with a flat brush like this one and going with just a little bit of concealer. I'm going to use that to just follow the shape of the brow. You might realize that I'll be using different concealers in this video. You don't have to go out and get different concealers. I am extra. I have these products at my disposal, so I'm using them. If you have just one concealer, please go ahead and use it. Make it work for you. You don't have to go out and get all these products. So now that that's out of the way, I'm gonna go ahead and clean up the bottom part of my brow. So you see, I keep doing short strokes. Just like this. Of course, you can go in and clean up if you make a mistake. You are doing your makeup and it's completely normal that you make mistakes. So if you make a mistake, just go back in and then clean up. Like so. I'm gonna go ahead and clean up the other brow. What I like to do is to start here and then just make sure the front part of my brows are like matching, and then I just go. I'm a little messy at first and then I go and then I'm a little bit more precise. I like to go backwards and I place my hand here so it kind of gives me a little bit of balance. If you're not stable, if you don't have the most stable hands, you can just do this to keep your hand in place so when you're moving it doesn't move so much. So you can see next step is to go ahead and blend it out. You don't need exactly this brush, but this is the brush I always use. This is the Real Techniques Deluxe Crease brush. The flat brush that I use, by the way, doesn't have a name. I got it from the drugstore, the pharmacy. Drugstore. I got it from the pharmacy and it didn't have a name. It's literally just a flat brush that has like a rounded tip, and it works for me. Some people use flat brushes that have straight edges, which is fine, whatever works for you. I personally find that the rounded flats brushes do work for me. So as you can see, I'm blending the concealer under my brows. I'm literally just tapping as close to my brows as possible, just buffing the concealer in, and it gives like this light effect, which is great. So now you want to tap or touch the brow gel that you use to check if it's dried down, and before you go ahead and fill your brows, you want to set the concealer under your eyebrows. If you don't do this, when you put your eyebrow pencil in your eyebrows, it's gonna keep dragging the concealer into your eyebrows, and it's not the easiest thing to, you know, keep the mess away, but this definitely keeps the concealer in place and it prevents a lot of mess. I just go in with my powder from Huda and my setting brush from Real Techniques, and I'm literally just pushing this into my eyebrows. As you can see, the concealer is nice and set. And then we're gonna go in and fill the brows in. I'm using my pencil. This is the Davis pencil, just a regular dark brown pencil, and I just sharpened it so it's very sharp. I'm gonna start off here. As you can see, I'm coming a little bit in front of the brow, and I'm literally just following the bottom line, just like so. And the top, I just start a little bit in front of the brow, just following the shape. And then I'm gonna go ahead and fill the brows in. Like I said, I like bold brows, so this is when you have to be mindful of where you are filling. Like if you're filling it in too much, if you don't want your brows to be thick, don't overfill it in. Just literally fill the ends in and go your way. If you don't want your brows to look too thick, fill in the sparse areas where you don't have a lot of hairs, and then you leave the rest. So if you don't have a lot of hair somewhere, literally just go in and fill that part in. So what I like to do is to go at the front and make these strokes just like so. And it looks like this. Might be too bold for some people, but that's fine. Just do what works for you. You don't have to go by this exact tutorial. This is just like a blueprint. So yeah, so I'm gonna start off here and just fill the brows in. I'm gonna go back into my MAC concealer palette, and I'm going into the shade NC50, which is very close to my skin tone, this one right here. I'm gonna go in with the same flat brush just to go in with a little bit of concealer, and I'm gonna clean up the top part of my brows. And then afterwards, what I do is I go in with the same brush with no extra concealer. I just fade the front of the brow and I keep cleaning up. So if you feel like your brows are okay, you can just go back in and blend the concealer in. And if you feel like they are not, like I'm uncomfortable with how there's a little bit of a dip there, I go back in with my pencil and I just fill that part in, just like so. I need a little bit of an arch here. And that's it. That's literally it. So if you're comfortable with your brows, you move on to the next step. But just make sure that you are blending the concealer around very well. We're done with the brows, so we're gonna move on to the eye makeup. So when it comes to eye makeup, we're just gonna do the basic steps. You can use an eyeshadow primer to prime your lids before you apply your eyeshadow, just like you use primer for your skin to make sure your makeup goes on smoothly. You can use eyeshadow primer to make sure your eyeshadow doesn't crease, doesn't break apart, and it looks good on the eyes. Personally, I like to use concealer on my eyelids, and it's not all concealers that I like to use on my eyelids. For example, the concealer that I use around my brows, it's not the same concealer that I use for my eyelids. Concealer that I use around my brows, I like waxy concealers. They have a little bit of a slip. I don't like concealers that are too slippery because it will be difficult to work around the brows because you need to be precise. Like I said, those are my preferences. Because I have these concealers, I'm obsessed with makeup and I film makeup videos. I have a bunch of concealers. So yeah, this is by far my favorite concealer, the Too Faced Bond Spray Concealer. I like this for my face. I like this for my eyelids. Works so well. This is the concealer in the shade Butterscotch. You can use any shade that works for you. Doesn't matter. And you want to go in with just a little bit of concealer on the eyelids. Don't overdo it when it comes to the concealer. Don't. And when you're gonna blend out the concealer, make sure that you are using a tool that blends and takes away any excess products. I always like to use a sponge because it works great. I'm gonna just show you. So as you can see, it literally blends out the concealer, takes off any excesses. So you have like a fresh canvas to work with. It covers up all the discolorations so that any color that you apply pops. You can use a brush to blend out the concealer on your eyelids. Honestly, I just prefer sponges. Just do what works for you. So the eyelids are primed. If you use a concealer, I always suggest that you set it with some sort of powder, a light layer. I personally don't like blending out concealer on wet eyeshadow. I can, but it's not beginner friendly because you're doing eyeshadow and it's difficult to blend out the eyeshadow because you literally just put powder into something wet. It's gonna stay. It's not gonna blend out. I feel like using a powder just makes everything seamless and it makes blending super easy. But again, do what works for you. So we're gonna start off with a fluffy brush, just like this one. And what you wanna do is to go into a dark brown. I'm using my Jaclyn Hill eyeshadow palette and I'm gonna go into the shade Chip, which is this dark brown here. And then I'm going to stamp it on the outer V. By the way, always go in with a matte color on your crease or your outer V. This is a matte color. This is a shimmer. You see it's shiny, foily, but this is something that is matte, just basically powdery and no shimmer in it. So any color that you want to use on your crease or your outer V should be matte. Any color at all. It doesn't have to be dark brown. You just want to keep stamping it here and you want to blend it out. Once you've established that this is the portion that is gonna be darker, you're gonna go in with a lighter brown. I'm gonna go in with the shade Mocha, this one. I'm gonna put that on top, like here, and I'm gonna bring it into my crease, just like so. So I bring it all the way to the front of my eyebrow. And here, but I avoid my brow bone area, so I'm gonna do same here. Bring it right on top of the brown that you used and you're gonna bring it inwards into the front of your eyebrow and you want to keep working the color in the crease. So this is what it looks like now. Now that you have it looking like this is gonna show you where to put your color. So we're gonna do something gold. Yeah, I think gold is super pretty for any type of occasion in my opinion. So I'm gonna use this shade called Queen, and I'm going in with a flat brush. And what you want to do is to gauge where your eye socket is. Oh my god, we've entered biology. You see where your eyeball ends, like this bone, literally. So you see it's literally just like here. Please do not poke your eye out. So this area, so you're going to use your gold color and you're literally just going to trace that area. So you're doing like a fake cut crease. So this is gonna be like this. It just took the look to a whole new level. So as you can see, it's like a cut crease, but you literally didn't use any excess concealer. This is what I like to do. And you want to stop like right where the darker color is. So you're gonna do same here. Remember to trace the eyeball. When I say eyeball, it's so funny for me because I feel like this is too deep. This is literally just eyeshadow. This is literally just makeup. But on a more serious note, makeup is like therapy for me. I really enjoy applying makeup. Truth be told, I don't apply makeup every day. Most of the time when I apply makeup, it's because I filmed it or I'm going somewhere. I don't always apply makeup, but when I do, I really do enjoy applying makeup. It's like therapy and it's really been amazing. The journey that makeup has taken me on. I don't just do YouTube because it's a job for me. I do YouTube because I definitely do enjoy filming makeup videos and teaching you guys and stuff like that. I always see comments and I receive emails on how my videos have helped you guys, and it just really makes my heart full that I'm able to do something that I enjoy and I'm able to help people out. Like, it's really amazing. When I meet you guys out, it's amazing. I remember when I was in London, I went to CREASE, I think, with my sister to get groceries, and like on a random day, I wasn't having the best day and I look a lot like my sister. Someone was able to tell the difference between my sister and I. She says, you, I mean you. And then I was like, yeah. And she goes like, I watch you on YouTube and blah blah blah. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I'm all the way in Ghana and I was literally visiting my sister in London and someone in London watches me. So yeah, it's amazing. It's been a hell of a ride, but I definitely enjoy applying makeup. This looks good for the most part. And we're gonna do like an eyeliner situation. A lot of people are afraid to do liquid eyeliner, and this is something you can do if you are scared to use liquid eyeliner. You can use a matte color. So I'm gonna go into this black. It's called Abyss, and you need just like a flat brush like this. And what you want to do is to focus and go as close to your lash line as possible. If you're using liquid or if you're comfortable using liquid eyeliner, please feel free to do that. But this is for my girls who are afraid to use liquid eyeliner. This is less messy, easier to control. Actually looks the same in my opinion, because most eyeliners or liquid eyeliners dry down matte. So it should look something like this. See the difference? It just gives the eye look a shape. So we're gonna do same here. We're gonna go into the same black, and we're using the same brush that we used to apply the color in the outer V and the crease, and just like this, a little bit of the black, and we're gonna stamp it at the end of the eyeliner, just like this. See, makes it smokier. You don't have to go in with a lot, just literally a little bit, and you're going to stamp it at the outer V. Just like so. Black is so scary to use, but it's really not that deep. I'm going back into the shade Chip, the first shade that I used, Chip. I'm going to go in with my brush and we're going to just kind of bring that in to merge with the gold on the lid, so it's like it's transitioning into, I don't know if you can tell the difference. So you see the brown is transitioning into the gold, but here it just looks really harsh. So you're just going to stamp that as close to the gold as possible. Remember to stay out of your crease with the darker colors. So it looks so much better here. And then we're gonna do same here. Put it in between the gold and the black. So you should have your eye makeup looking like this. It looks a lot, but it's really not. Eyelashes, you're gonna need a pair of mini scissors and tweezers. I'm using these eyelashes today, and I'm hoping for a successful eyelash application tutorial. So what you're gonna do is to, first of all, you have your eyelashes like this. As you can see, it has ends on it. So we're gonna try to snip them off. I've been applying eyelashes for so long, I can gauge if an eyelash is too long for me, but I'm just gonna show you for tutorial purposes. You're gonna put your eyelash on like this, and you're gonna figure out if it's too long for you. You just never trim the front of your eyelashes, unless of course they have those extra ends at the end of the eyelash. Let me show you what I'm talking about. You see there's an extra end at the front. If you don't snip that part off, it's gonna keep pricking you at the front of your eye, and you're gonna have like a really uncomfortable day. But apart from that, if there are any eyelashes attached to the front part, you keep that. I like the duo lash adhesive. I'm gonna apply the glue onto the lash band, just like so. It should look something like this, and you're gonna place your lash down like this with the parts where you applied your glue facing upwards, so you don't have it sticking onto your surface or the table or whatever. You want to wait for your lash glue to get tacky. Tacky means sticky, so that when you put it on your lash line, it just sticks on it. You're gonna take a mirror. What you're gonna do is place it like below your chin and look into the mirror so you can see your lash line. This tool right here is so amazing. What it does is to hold your lash hairs down while you apply your eyelash, like so. So it just works really well. So you apply the middle part, and then you go in and then you fix the end. So I'm using this tool to like mesh the eyelashes. So if you don't have the tool, you literally just want to look down and place it right at the center of your lash line, and you can use your finger or the tweezers and then fix the end and the front. And then you're gonna go in with your tool. So we are done with the eye and the brow, and you want to clean up the under eye area because there's definitely a little bit of fallout. You might not see it, but when you wipe it, you would see it. So you definitely want to clean up so that you don't have a lot of shimmer roaming about in your base. And we're gonna start off with the base. So with a clean base, you have to moisturize and make sure that your skin is hydrated, and you're gonna use a primer. I like my e.l.f. Power Grip primer. Any primer of choice is fine. It's an affordable dupe for the Milk Hydro Grip. I'm gonna color correct just because I find that color correction really helps my base to look good. I'm black and I have dark or hyperpigmentation on my skin, so I like to use orange concealers to cancel it out. I believe green works for my lighter babes who have red marks on their skin. If you are lighter than me and you have darker marks on your skin, you can use a peachy color corrector. So yeah, whatever works for you. So I'm going back into my MAC concealer palette. I'm going in with my Real Techniques brush, and I'm gonna apply the color corrector where I need it the most, which is under my eye area. See, it looks so much better than here. I'm gonna apply that here because I had a little bit of a reaction on this side of my face. I'm not sure why. Thank God it's finally gone because it was there for months and I wasn't able to figure out what was going on, but it's leaving and I'm so grateful for that. What I like to do is to use a bit of powder and a powder puff, and I just go lightly over where I apply the color corrector. This serves as powder before foundation. Also, this serves as setting your color corrector because some color correctors, especially this one in the matte palette, doesn't dry down fast. It doesn't dry down matte. It's a little bit on the oilier side, so I like to set it down so that it looks good and doesn't mix up with my foundation, and so that I don't end up looking orange. For foundation, I'm gonna use this one from NARS. This is the NARS Soft Matte Foundation in the shade MACAO. This is my favorite foundation. No, one of my favorite foundations. I'm gonna go in with a little bit. I'm just gonna spread it out with my fingers. Remember that if you use a matte foundation, matte foundations dry very fast, so you have to blend them out fast. You don't have to let it sit on your skin too long. And I'm gonna go ahead and buff my foundation into my skin with my Instapop face brush from Real Techniques. I'm gonna go in with my sponge and I'm going all over my face. I like to use the bottom of my sponge just to pick up any excesses. You can also blend your foundation in with the sponge. I'm gonna go ahead and apply concealer. I'm gonna use the same concealer from Too Faced in the shade Butterscotch. I'm gonna apply a little bit under my eyes, on my chin, my mustache area, the bridge of my nose, and a little bit on my forehead. And I'm gonna let that sit while I go ahead and cream contour. You guessed it, I'm using my stick foundation from Juvia's Place in the shade Sokoto. I always use this because it's the most perfect shade ever. I really like it for me. I like it for me so much. So yeah. Apply that on my forehead and temples and the high points of my cheekbones. If you're new here, I don't apply product directly onto my chin because it looks muddy. So I prefer to use what's on my brush to go there after I have blended out everything. Also, I'm gonna leave my concealer to sit for a bit because this concealer doesn't dry down matte. So you can't do that. If your concealer dries down fast, please blend out your concealer before you apply your contour. I'm going to blend the forehead into my hairline, and then, by the way, I'm using the Instapop cheek brush from Real Techniques. And then what's on my brush, I'm gonna just use that on my chin and jawline area. So for the rest of my face, the concealer, I'm gonna use the Soft Accent brush. It looks like this. When I find something I like, I use it over and over again until I find something else. I'm gonna go in with a sponge and I'm going to blend out the edges just like so. And then I'm going back in with my foundation brush. I'm gonna go over all the edges to buff in any harsh lines. Going back in with my contour brush. I'm gonna go ahead and apply a second concealer. You can skip this step or use this step. I like a bright under eye, so this is a very light concealer. Literally just going to use a dot of concealer here, and I'm gonna leave that. As you can see, it's really light. So I'm gonna let the concealer sit for a bit, and I'm gonna use a cream blush. Some people don't like cream blush because they say it's too many steps, but cream blush, I like cream blush because blush is the very first thing to get or vanish from your makeup when you step out. And if you want your blush to stay all day, you should start working with a cream blush on your skin, in my opinion. So yeah, if you don't like cream blush, please skip this step. I'm gonna use the e.l.f. blush brush to blend out the cream blush or liquid blush. This is the Rare Beauty blush, by the way, and it says a matte blush, so if you don't blend it out, it would become patchy, and blending it out is gonna be very difficult. If you want more pigment from your blush, you should apply more blush. I like to apply just a little bit of liquid blush so that my powder blush has something to latch onto. So I'm gonna go ahead and use a sponge to blend out my concealer under my eye, the lighter concealer. Someone would ask me why I didn't use the very light concealer instead of using the Too Faced concealer that I use. If I do that, it will look really ashy. I have to layer the concealer so that there's a little bit of gradient, just like the way you color correct, because you don't want your foundation to turn gray. If I had used this really light concealer, which is obviously not my skin tone or my shade on my skin directly, without using something to buffer, like a buffer between this concealer and my foundation shade, it would have been way too harsh. So I hope that this explains that. Looks good. I'm gonna go back in and blend out the edges. And then finally, I'm gonna blend out my nose contour. I like to do the lighter concealer before I go in with my nose contour, just so I can get something precise. So I'm gonna go in with my powder puff and my powder puff to blend out my concealer. But before, what is happening? To set my concealer, but before I do that, I'm just gonna make sure there are no creases. Just go over one last time, and I'm going in with my puff, dust off any excesses, and literally gonna push the powder in. And then I'm gonna go ahead and set the rest of my face. I'm using my Sephora Micro Smooth Powder and a big powder brush. This is in the shade Mahogany. So literally going to push the powder into my skin. You know, I'm setting the foundation. Looks good. And then I'm gonna use my Fenty Beauty bronzer in the shade Coconutty. I'm gonna use that to set where I applied my cream contour. So we used creams, now we are using powders to set those areas. So I'm gonna go in with the contour and set the contour on my nose, and then I'm gonna do a little bit of clean up with the powder. I'm gonna clean up the sides of the bridge of my nose, and a little bit of baking. Baking my smile lines. If you have smile lines, definitely put a little bit of powder there. Do this because if you're going on a date, you know you're gonna be smiling a lot, so definitely do that. Just gonna clean up just a bit. A bit of reverse contouring. Blend the powder. I'm gonna come back to the eyes to finish up the eye makeup. Use a black pencil and you're gonna put it in between your eyelids and you're gonna go back and forth, so it gives you like I don't know, just does something to the eye. Can you tell the difference? So I'm gonna go back in with the shade Mocha, which is this brown. I'm gonna go ahead and just apply this onto the lower lash line. So I'm gonna go in with my setting brush, and what I'm gonna do is to blend the powder in. And I'm gonna go ahead and apply blush. This is my absolute favorite blush from Juvia's Place. It's in the shade Bella. I'm gonna apply this on top of where I applied the blush earlier. So what I'm gonna do is to set my face. The e.l.f. Stay All Night Micro Fine Mists. Up to 16 hours of makeup wear. Who wears makeup for 16 hours? Like, no. And then I'm gonna go ahead and apply some highlighter. I'm gonna put that into my inner corners, you know, just to open up my eyes. I also apply a bit on my brow bone, the tip and the bridge of my nose here. And then I'm gonna apply some on the high point of my cheekbones. Also gonna apply a bit of mascara. What I'm gonna do is to line my lip, the dark brown lip liner. I'm gonna do a red lip from Dose of Colors in the shade Kiss of Fire. So this is the finished look. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it will be useful to you. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate your support. I'm just really grateful to you guys. Give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And let me know what you think down below. I'll see you guys in my next one. Take care, guys. Bye.
Constant crazy with my lady. You got something that I'm interested in. Just maybe. You're 22, two at the handle. Girl, I wanna handle you. Put my hands upon you, baby. You're 22, two at the handle. Girl, I wanna handle you. Put my hands upon you, baby. 22 going on 23. You look prettier when you're fucking with me. I'm in your city, I'ma show you what it means to be loved.